Hi guys, this is Bitcoin Charlie. Tonight's video we're going to talk about my frustration with the banking industry because I had to call one of my credit cards today, and it's just amazing to me the dinosaur age that these guys are living in, and they can't seem to understand how to adapt to the new industry. Well, actually, it's in fairness to them, it's really not. They can't adapt. It's because the system was never set up for being set up to be an electronic banking system in the modern day and age. You see, all of the banking stuff is still rooted back in the 1950s, and they're trying to keep put band-aids and patches on these credit cards and debit cards now that make them quote-unquote modern for the electronic age. Anyway, a little rant tonight. Had to call them today, and of course the first thing I got to do is I got to verify my information. Okay, you verify your information. Well, as soon as you get done verifying your information, you basically have to start over because they want to know your social security number again. So you give it to them again, and then it's like you got to give them your date of birth, and like if that isn't one of the two most worst things you can give anybody in the world, because now you're exposed yourself to identity theft. Because those two pieces of information there, if anybody else gets a hold of them, then they can basically take and run with it, and they can cause you all kinds of havoc and headaches down the road in your life. Anyway, make a long story short, they wanted, I was trying to add another person to the account so they could see the information and do the books. So I was having to go through that. And then they wanted their social security number. I mean, really? This whole industry is set up on, you're not supposed to give up any of that information, but yet every time you call these guys at the banks, the first thing they want to know is they got to verify your information, but the only way they do it is to give up your private information. I think there's a whole lot better way of doing it, and it's called cryptocurrencies, because like in this little picture here, as you guys can see, I'll blow it up here a little bit more for you. But this is just an example of everybody in the banking world that's got to touch your payments if you want to do a transaction there. So it's really, they're trying to put band-aids and patches on this old system that really isn't set up for it. But if you go out here and you look at what the new crypto world here in the tan areas, everybody who's got to touch your information in order to process a payment. But if we go over here and look at a crypto world, you basically are one-on-one. You upload it to the blockchain processor, and then the merchant or person gets the payment, and that's it. And there's no chance for identity theft there because you haven't revealed any private information. You never once have to reveal your social security number. You never once have to reveal your date of birth. So it's one of those systems. I think it's way better. And then you'll get all this noise out here on the internet now. Well, it's only used for criminal transactions. Well, no, it's not. If you guys would let this technology adapt and get into the real world, I'm sure it'll be just fine for everybody involved because it will give us a much more seamless transaction. We don't have to run the risk of having all these identity theft cases that are going on and around the world all the time these days because we have to release our private information every time we turn around when we're dealing with a banking institution. And heaven forbid if you've ever tried to send a wire lately. Holy cow. They want to know where the wire's going. They want to know who you are. They want to know who you're sending it to. They want to know why they're getting it. It's like, really, it's not even right. So, just my little rant tonight on some of the stuff that's going on in the banking industry. But anyway, I think this technology is shaking up the future, and this industry is going to have to adapt. And if you aren't putting the breadcrumbs together now, the SEC has passed no substantial legislation against the crypto industry. Some of these states are backing the cryptos now. More and more blockchain jobs are becoming available. I think the writing's on the wall. This thing's going to evolve. It's going to get better. It's going to improve. Yes, it's probably long from perfect now. And yes, it is not the easiest thing in the world to use at this point in time, but that's why we're making these courses and helping you guys get educated on this, so hopefully you can learn how to do it and get ahead of the curve, so maybe when it does evolve, you will reap some of the rewards as we move forward. But this whole fintech industry is dramatically changing, and I think it will continue to change over the next several years. This is, I think, a fundamental shift in our society. If you're familiar at all with Napster and how it broke the entire music monopoly in the music industry, I think this is exactly what Bitcoin's going to do to the financial industry. It's going to break the monopoly the banking system has had on us for all these years, and there will no longer be the ability for a bank to artificially do the rehypothecation of doing the fractional reserve banking where they can loan out 10 times more money than they have in the banking system and claim that as an asset since it's a loan now on their books. And then they can go out and do it again and again and again. And then when they get in trouble, then they want to come back to us, the taxpayers, and get a bailout to save them because they made some bad investments. I don't think that's the world we need to be living in anymore. And hopefully this revolution will continue. But like I was saying, identity theft is a huge problem at this point in time with the current system, and there is no real way in my eyes to ever put a patch on this current system that we've got that will ever patch it up where it would keep anybody safe in this new system. At best you can do is you can put some identity theft protection on yourself, and that's about really the only thing you can do at this point in time. And the other downside to the banking industry is how secure is your money in the bank? Well, you probably think it's very secure. Well, actually, you're not very secure at all. If you go read the bylaws of the bank, you're basically, once you deposit the money in the bank, you're basically an unsecured creditor inside that bank that you just gave them your money. So you're probably the last one in line to get your money back if and when something goes wrong at that bank. Because they're going to take that money and they're going to rehypothecate it, they're going to fractionalize it, they're going to loan it out, and they're going to make some bets that probably 20 years ago they would have never been able to make. But that's the industry we live in right now, and that's the debt-based world we live in right now. So the debt-based world is kind of taken over the whole world, and I think that's a lot of the reasons why everything is imploding right now, because the whole financial institution is just awash in debt, and the debt is no longer even somewhat remotely payable anymore. So the whole industry, in my opinion, over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, is all going to come crashing down, and it's going to break apart, and hopefully we move to some more structurized type of money. Is that even a word, structurized? But I think that's where it needs to head. I do not think it can go back to gold and silver, just because how are you going to send a silver coin or a gold coin through your phone? Well, that's the beauty of the cryptocurrencies. You can do all of that, and you can do it instantly, basically seamlessly, and without any permission. So that's why I'm convinced that we're moving into a world of the cryptos, and we're going to stay away from probably real money like gold and silver, even though they are real money. But they're just extremely hard to store, they're hard to move, and I don't think they're practical for this electronic world we're moving into. So anyway, my little rant for tonight. So wish you guys well. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.